Hey there, and welcome to our latest episode of What's on the Horizon. I'm Lori Scherenbrock here with Chris Schucker of Digital Horizons. And I've been thinking a lot lately about home theaters and that they could be more than just that. And obviously in a home theater system, there's speakers. Can you just use them for audio? Are they any good for that?
Yeah, and I assume by audio you mean like music or something along those lines.
Like if you just wanted to put party sound or something in there.
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the spaces that we deploy for our clients, theater rooms are definitely popular, but not like they used to be.
Sure.
In previous years, it would be something we were doing very frequently. And so now what happens is instead of a theater room, we do what's called a media room.
Oh, okay.
And that comes in all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes it can still be a dedicated space, and technically you might call that a theater room.
Okay.
But more often than not, it's maybe a more open space, something that's more welcoming. And sometimes in a theater room, you get this kind of closed off feeling. Oftentimes there's a closed door because you want to contain the sound, and then internally you want a more predictable space for sound. But we often, the systems that get installed are in an open space. They're more welcoming so that someone can feel like they're free to come and go. They're not kind of trapped in the room.
Sure.
The space around what might be you have the dedicated space that's maybe a large television or a projection system, but then everything around it might be entertaining in nature. So you might have a pool table, you might have a bar, or something along those lines. And so that space takes on many different functions, right? You might be sitting down to watch Lord of the Rings or some epic movie, right? And you're focused on that. But it might be the Vikings are playing. Or it's the season 77 of, Bachelorette or something. Or you just want to listen to music. And so those systems can to answer your question, can have a lot of function and can do both of those things. Part of the process that we use in our meeting with clients is we ask a ton of questions. We want to know, what have they had before? What have they liked? What have they disliked? What have they experienced elsewhere at a friend's house or a family member's house? What do they like about that? How they intend on using this space? Do they have specific music or movies they like listening to? Do they play video games? All of those things. Yeah. And so if someone were to come to us and as part of our questions, we discover that they love listening to music, we're gonna design things a little bit differently to incorporate both music and movies. So to clarify, and why we do that is certain speaker layouts or speaker types, certain types of speakers lend themselves to certain roles. The audio that comes from movies is different than what comes from, say, a CD or a record or just music in general. And so when we know someone is going to use a system one way or the other, we are building and designing and laying things out accordingly based on how they'll use it. Now, that doesn't mean that if we were to lay out a theater system that they can't listen to music on it. Of course they can. But if they're going to listen to more music or more movies, we want the system to be good at what they're going to use it for.
Optimized for the experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So, for example, when it comes to theater rooms and other design characteristics pertaining to the screen, if someone says, hey, I really like watching really cinematic movies and I want a really wide image, because this might be a topic for another video, but when you watch a movie and let's take, trying to think of a good example, but when you get that really wide image and on your newer widescreen TVs, there's bars on the top and bottom.
Oh, yeah.
That occurs because of the lens and the film that the movie makers are using.
that they used, yeah.
Yep. And so when you translate that movie, which is intended to be viewed in theaters, to your home television, it doesn't fit. So if someone said, hey, I'm really interested in watching, I'm going to watch movies 90% of the time, we might actually design a system with a screen that better matches that ultra-wide CinemaScope format, as they call it. So that's no different than the audio question, where if someone came in and said, hey, I'm going to listen to music 90% of the time, we're absolutely going to design a system that's different under those circumstances. And could they still watch movies on it? Absolutely. But just like your minivan can hold 8 people, it could probably pull a trailer, but it's not going to do super great at it.
Right.
So if you go into the car dealership and you say, hey, I've got a 21-foot bass boat that I want to haul, they're not going to recommend a minivan
No.
to you. They're going to recommend maybe an extended cab truck
Sure.
so you can still fit 5 people and really do well at pulling the boat. So yeah, they can do both. But if we know how it's going to be used, we will design the system to accommodate their needs so that their dollars and the room layout accommodate how they're going to use it most of the time.
I mean, and I guess that's like the pro tip for everyone. Like, that's why it's important to work with an integrator.
Yep.
Like, barring nothing else, because if you're a DIY, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like, you're not going to ask yourself those
Right.
questions. Someone
Right.
like you guys is going to be able to do that and give them the best of both worlds
Well, and
that they want.
If you are a DIY and you're watching this video, hopefully some of those thoughts and ideas are able to assist you in your project.
Cool. Well, that was awesome. And we want you to make sure that you stay tuned for our next episode. We'll see you then.